My name is Shani Akilah, creator, co-founder of the Black and Brown Workers Collective.
And my name is Abdul-Aliy. I'm a co-founder of the Black and Brown Workers Collective. I don't know, I trust that I'll be okay. I mean, I'm not trying to be a martyr. I'm very clear about that. I think we're clear in the collective that we're not, we determine the risk depending on like what action, what demands we have. And it's not about this idea of being ready to die, but the system is ready to kill us anyway. So it's like, how do you confront the system in ways that make sense, right? Also understanding that we want to live in a world that's liberated, right? I think that for me, that's how I deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think my comrade hit on all the major points. The only thing that I would say as well is that if we don't fight, we still will die. We still will be wiped out. And I think that the most recent healthcare bill really speaks to that. People that are supposed to be getting coverage really, are now being defined as pre-existing conditions, right? And so if you're HIV positive, if you're pregnant, if you've been raped, right, you are a pre-existing condition in this country. And so the way we see it is either we fight, and yes, there's a risk of being targeted and even being killed, or we don't do anything at all, we don't resist at all, and we still get wiped out. And so for us, it's kind of like a no-brainer. We'd rather resist with everything in our bodies to increase our chance of living.
Yeah, we were arrested last summer. We took over a highway over by Vine Street, the Vine Street Expressway. It was right after, I believe Alton Sterling had been murdered.
Should we be put in a position where standing against standing in justice results in an arrest, then that's what happens. But we also really believe that as like Black and brown, queer and trans people, there's nothing particularly revolutionary about getting arrested. So we personally do everything in our power and our collective to decrease the chances of arrest.
I did, in the context of the platform against the Zoning Center, I did a meta strike, so I declined taking my HIV meds in order to put pressure on the CEO at the time, Reed, and the board to have her resign. It lasted about 4 days. And at the middle of the fourth day, Reed resigned, and so did the board president, Jimmy Ruiz. So that was the last direct action I was involved in.
I think one of the pieces of advice I would give to someone looking to be involved is that often we think that getting involved means getting arrested or organizing a huge protest. Getting involved can be looking at your own attitudes and belief systems and starting to really reflect on what it is you've taken in and started to believe based on what the world has taught you, right? And so, we talk a lot about accompliceship in our collective. While we are living on the margins as Black and brown LGBTQ folks, there's some ways each of us are privileged. I have privileges, right? And so often I'm thinking to myself, how am I using my privilege to interrupt somebody else's cycle of oppression, right? Not speak for them, but in what way can I act as a bystander who intervenes in something that I have the power to intervene in, right? And so as an able-bodied person, as someone who has light skin privilege, right? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about colorism in our community. Like, there's so many ways that I'm privileged, right? That if I just sit in that privilege and I don't think about how I too take part in oppressing others, then I'm in fact not revolutionary, right? I can't call myself an organizer if I'm not doing that internal work. So for me, like when I think about ways to get activated, it's to start there, right? Because often people get activated without doing that self-reflection. And so they end up getting involved and actually taking up space rather than supporting the liberation of a mass movement and people.
The other piece of advice I would give to people is to trust yourself, trust whatever source you rely on for guidance, because there will be moments where people will gaslight you and say that what you're doing isn't productive. They'll say you're being divisive for calling out anti-blackness, but just trust that what you're doing is aligned with your values and connected to that work that Shani was talking about.